should welcome folks to this thing, right? Shouldn't it?
Yes,
what we
welcome
do
everybody.
welcome. This is the Livin LOUDoun ToddCast. Not to be confused with a podcast, it's a ToddCast. That's Todd.
That's Todd.
And together we're the ToddCast. So we got a bunch we're going to do with this show over the few episodes that we're going to do.
What are we going to do anyways?
Well,
we're going to do like one a day or like one a month or one a year? What are you talking here? And to not commit to something I'm not ready for?
We're not doing one a day.
Why not, man? This is great.
Because if y'all could see what we're doing here and where we're sitting, you would know that my wife is not going to allow me to leave this house.
She left.
She did leave.
She saw me pull up and she was like, okay.
Well, I tell you what, if y'all ever see this van that Todd Brooks and Poor Decisions roll around in, you don't want your kids to be hanging around.
She's a beauty.
It's a beautiful thing to see roll up there.
Kidnapper, man.
That's right.
That's not funny.
So this is what's kind of fun about the ToddCast. So what are we going to do? We're going to talk about the music scene in Loudoun County. We're going to talk about the musicians. Those things go together. We're going to talk about the venues. We're going to talk about how things are going and where people are playing. And so hopefully you can get kind of a review from us of the places and the musicians you'd go and see. And when I started thinking about doing this, I had met Todd Brooks. He was playing out at 868, so there's our first free plug of a winery. Todd was playing out there with his group, and that's a good bunch of folks out there. And so I loved his humor. I loved the music that he and his group Poor Decisions do. It was the first time I got to hear him. And then I didn't get to meet you. I didn't get to talk to you that day. This is my little story, my Todd Brooks story.
You were creeping in the back.
I was hiding in the back. It was nice, and it was a little chilly. I think it was a little fall, and so we were back by a fire pit, me and the wife and kids, and so I didn't. Plus, Todd had a whole bunch going on. He was running 2 sound systems because he gave.
Oh, we gave Sela the stuff that day.
Right, he gave some stuff to Sela that day, which is a cool story we'll get into in one of the episodes as well. Anyway, I just felt like this was a guy that I was going to ask him to do the first one with me, and then the more we started talking, we just like, well, let's do them all together, and we came up with this idea for the ToddCast. So that's what's going to be happening. We are going to talk about breweries and wineries because that's primarily the place to play in Loudoun County.
There's a lot of them.
And there's a ton of them out there, and there's a ton of people playing out here as well, which, again, so kind of promo that. Talk about some of the people that you've already got on your list to come sit with us.
So far, we've already got on our list Sela Campbell, Gary Smallwood, Jason Massey, Nate Dogg, Nathaniel Davis. I call him Nate Dogg.
Nate Dogg.
Andrew O'Day, who I don't think I've even spoken to yet. He just got married like last weekend, but I put him on the list because I know he'll do it because he's a good buddy of mine. I can't remember if I talked to Timbers or not. Chris Timbers, I think he texted me and said, yeah, he would do it. We've got Dean Kern, Liberty Street. There's a whole bunch of people that are going to end up being in here, and it's probably going to end up being everybody that's ever played anywhere in Loudoun County before it's all over with. So, yeah, we got that. That's going to be fun. We're going to play some music and maybe jam some tunes with them or something.
That's right.
Maybe not. Maybe we'll just sit here and drink your IPA.
Or somebody's IPA. So there's also sponsorship opportunity. Notice the hat. There's sponsorship opportunity in this as well. But there's also the opportunity for a couple of guys who right now aren't taking any sponsorship to tell you about some beers we like and places to go, especially the music stuff. So music news, music venue news. We'll do a little bit of wine and beer reviews, and then we'll have an unofficial or official sponsor of the day. Mostly those will probably come in the form of wineries or breweries, just because of who we are and what we do.
That's
glad to have y'all. So let's get into this because I think, like I said, when I was first thinking about doing this and I had seen Todd play, and then my story is that Todd was playing solo without Poor Decisions at Wheatland Spring, which is a brand new brewery up in Loudoun. If y'all haven't been there, farm brewery, nice folks up there.
Cool place.
So go check that out, especially in the warmer months when they get the barn open and all that. It's really nice in there. So Todd was playing in there by himself. And if you've never seen Todd play, there's not enough microphones on the stage for him. So not only is there one up there that he sings through all the time, but then he's got this headset thing or wireless, mic like Garth Brooks that he walks around not doing anything. Like I thought you had it set to like listen to your
my vocal
larynx.
board, like the, can you hear me now? Yeah.
I thought that's what it had. So Todd's playing. I come in with my family. We're sitting there. We're enjoying the nice beer and all that. And I guess since I didn't get a chance to introduce myself to him, I didn't know if he knew who I was or not. So I'm sitting there sipping a beer, as I do. And you were doing like all your old stuff or something. You were playing all this stuff off of old set list or something.
Yeah, so when I'm doing solo is when I play a solo show, it's like band practice for me anymore. I just like pull out all this old stuff that we don't play with the band that I never get to play anymore. And some of the stuff that I used to, put twists on doing solo. And I do all that stuff because I never get to play it with the band. So, and lots of times, like some of that stuff you heard, I might never even played it before. I might just printed it out, played it. But yeah, it's a good time. Go ahead.
So then you started asking for requests, and there was an older gentleman sitting there next to me, table over anyway, and he says, "Can you play Chicken Fried?" And Todd looked at me, he goes, "I don't know that." Then he looks at me, he goes, "Do you know it?" And I didn't even know that you recognized me or who I was. And I said, "Yeah, I know it." And so Todd puts everything down, walks away, looks at me, goes, "Go play it." And he literally walked out of the barn. You just kept going. Like
I was out of beer.
He kept going. So I get up there and I play Chicken Fried. And he,
I never came back.
People enjoy, and he
went
didn't
home.
come back.
I went
he
home.
did not come back. That's exactly right. He did not come back. I look out the barn because you look out there and you can see, and he's walking around out there. So I played yet another song. And I thought, well, he'll be back in a little bit, Because anybody who knows who plays with me, my brain is normally my iPad. You have them printed out. I have it on iPad.
My book.
Well, I had, yeah. I kind of looked at that and all that '90s rock that man. I pulled out "Peaceful Easy Feeling" by the Eagles, and that was at the limit. And so about that time, I'm like, "Come back here!" So,
are you done?
Go
ahead, keep playing.
He's standing at the back of the place. So that was my introduction to his humor. That he just walk off the stage, hand me a pick, and say, "Go play guitar."
I was tired. I needed a break.
Yeah, you working too hard out there. So we kind of alluded to '90s rock and all that. Tell us how you got started playing music.
I got started in 8th grade or 6th grade. Sorry. Let me. I'm gonna turn my phone off.
I was gonna say, man, you're like
it's.
You can't come to a production and leave your phone on.
Something important might happen, man. I mean, when you're in charge of the whole everything, you gotta. All right, it's gone.
Okay, good.
So I started playing in 6th grade.
It was 8th grade a minute ago.
No, I know, but I realized it was 6th. 6th grade, we had just like a little music class where they're like, "Here, play a recorder for 2 weeks. Here, play a guitar for 2 weeks. Play a ukulele." So that was the start. 7th grade, I took an actual guitar class.
Wow.
Which was Michael, Row Your Boat Ashore, When the Saints Come Marching In, or Mary Had a Little Lamb, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and all the 7 songs that little progression can be. It was that stuff. It was very basic. First 3 frets, learned some notes, and then in 8th grade, and I have to tell you the story. My dad, who I love him to death, he's cheap, man. He is cheap. He had to buy me a guitar for 7th grade, and I never will forget it. I was all excited about this guitar. Here I am, 7th grader. I got to have my own guitar, man. It's not going to be like one of the school's guitar.
Right.
This is one that I can actually have in my house and play.
And put a sticker on it if you want
Right,
to.
right. Put a Rush sticker on it, man. You're darn right. I never did that, though. I'm not a sticker on the guitar guy. But I remember he worked for GAO his whole life, and he'd come in his suit, and I never will forget. He walked in, and he'd done one up to Melody Music down by Western Auto, which I don't even know if you were born.
I know Melody Music, but I don't know Western Auto.
It was back by Western Auto when Wilco was there. Yeah, this is a long time ago. This is 70s or whatever. And never will forget it. He walked in, and he was in this. It was a Yamaha classical, C100 or C101. The bottom of the line. I think it was like $89, but he had to bump it up and say he paid $100 for it.
Round it up.
And I never will forget. He walked in the door and he said, "Boy," said, "I just paid $100 for this guitar. You better dang well play it." I was like, oh. And of course, little did he know that that $100 guitar. God only knows how much money I have in guitars now. But so, anyways, that got me started. Then in 8th grade, I took a classical class, which I hated, but I'm glad I took it because it taught me some arpeggio stuff with the right hand, and I did really good. I played my classical pieces perfect, but I wanted everybody to know that I knew how to play Purple Haze on a guitar. And so after my, dun, 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 I would go, and the teacher would be like, oh my God, Todd, why? Why did you do that? You just played it perfect. I got to give you like a C now. You had an A. And I'm like, that is a cool lick, Miss Drazen. Shout out to Miss Drazen, by the way.
And see how you put them together? Like you put them together in one.
Melded them in perfect. Right. It was like a perfect.
You were ahead of your time by putting those things together.
I was something. I don't know what it was. Yeah, Miss Drazen. Thank you, Miss Drazen. I've never been able to find her. She taught me how to play guitar, and I tried a couple of years ago. But that was super cool that she taught me how to play guitar because it's a lifelong passion, and it's a stress reliever and everything else.
So move forward to bands. When did you get into bands?
1988. I was working at McLean Reynolds and at the time, and I was living with a guy I knew. I don't even know how we knew each other. But he said, "Hey man," he said, "I got a friend of mine I works with. His brother plays bass, and they're looking for another guitar player." And I said, "Oh, really?" He said, "Yeah." So we got in touch, and I went over, and we had a practice. And as it turned out, I was working at McLean Reynolds, and D&B Reynolds across the street was like our rival store. And there was a dude there working there named Johnny Johnson, Johnny Loco. Only black dude I ever seen with a rebel flag in the back of his truck. Lifelong friends, me and him. So, anyways, I knew him from, and I would wave to him and stuff. But when I went to band practice, he was the other guitar player. I didn't even know he played guitar. So, long story short, that we started a band called South Harrison, and that morphed. That was about a year or so, and that morphed into Sabbatical, which was around to mid '90s or something like that, '93, '94. I'm not even sure. So,
what were tell the styles? What type of music were you playing?
We started off doing classic rock and.
Classic rock Eagles, in the 80s.
Yeah.
It just tells you how long that's been around. We're in the 80s, you're playing classic rock, so that is 70s music.
Yeah, back then we just called it rock because it wasn't classic yet. But like Eagles, we were doing some Aerosmith and some stuff like that. A little bit more, a little bit more docile stuff. And then that morphed into Skid Row, Tesla, Dokken. All the.
See, here's my problem right now is, now I've seen a picture and I'm pulling it down and hopefully by now the part we do post production, that picture is up now while we're talking, but of you standing there with all the hair, in what looks like a Van Halen red jumpsuit.
It was hot pink.
Yeah. It was hot pink. That's what the color was off in the picture.
Yeah.
So I'm contrasting that against the stuff you do now. So there's a progression that we got to get to, man.
To that, yeah.
He walks around. Todd walks around doing this awesome version of Landslide. When you have your little, finally you use the Garth Brooks mic. Yeah. So, classic rock, Dokken, hard, heavy metal, whatever you want to call that.
Metallica. Yeah. To that, I know. Hey, that's what happens when you get old.
And that was happening from here, because I know you live in West Virginia now, but you grew up...
No, Sterling.
Sterling, okay. So
we were based out of Sterling.
Yeah.
Got to do a lot of cool stuff in that band. Opened up for Quiet Riot and Yngwie Malmsteen, and played out to Bayou, and we'd go, New Jersey, and just all over the place playing Zax, and just having a blast. And that was, I miss it, man. God, it was so much fun.
That's where I ought to inject one of those videos of you playing last night in your garage, playing that old stuff.
Dude, that stuff all the time, man. I just want to go back. I want my hair to be long again.
I just want to have hair again.
I want my neck not to be sore when I go like this twice. And you know, it was a great time. And funny story, that hot pink guitar that you got with Fender, the guitar was made from 1988 to 1992, and I have a 1988 model. And I've always said that guitar is the best guitar. I could take that thing by the tremolo bar, go and fret a G, and it would just go boom, wham, never go out of tune. It was the best guitar ever. So, and I've been looking for one on eBay and Reverb for like 2 years now, and I can't find a good one, right? So I get a thing on Facebook the other day. Fender, Japan, same factory that made it before, is making them now again. And they're making a pink one. And I may or may not have ordered one. And it may or may not be here on Tuesday.
This is the guy that was just telling us about saving his bubble gum for later that's already ordered.
That's how I can afford the new pink guitar. Save my bubble gum.
So, all right, so we've got this arc that's led you into
playing music.
Playing music, then going all the way like to the extreme heavy metal type stuff. So what would you contrast for us a little bit the different then to now influences? What influenced you to go in and play that kind of stuff then, and then how do you take that on to now and how you play with your shows and Poor Decisions?
Did you write that question? That's really good.
I'm just making them up as I go along.
Is there a paper down here? That's really good, man.
Yeah,
You're smart.
Could you keep your answer though to
less than 7 minutes?
To the what I got left of beer in here.
I like to talk a lot. That's my thing.
I'm here. We're gonna have to pause here in a minute and have a refill. Go ahead.
So so the hard rock thing, I grew up listening, the 1980s boombox with Van Halen and Running with the Devil, and so I kind of grew up listening to AC/DC and Van Halen, that kind of stuff. And then once the band disbanded, we did another little group. Me and a couple of the guys from the band called Project J did some original stuff and played around. But then after that broke up, I really didn't do a whole lot,
as bands do.
Yeah, we were together for I want to say 5 years or something, and we had pretty much all the same members. We switched to drummers at some point. But other than that, it was the same members, and we all got along good. Like 3 of us lived in the same house together. We lived there forever. It's called the band house. Anyway, so that broke up, and I didn't really play. I always kept playing music. I never stopped, but I wasn't playing in a band with anybody. And just happened one day I was out with some old high school friends that we still all hang out together, periodically. And I had a guitar, and they were like, play some songs. And, at that point I was learning some stuff on acoustic. I didn't even, I already bought my first good acoustic. I traded a landscaping job for a $300 Yamaha acoustic, and I liked it. And so about 2002, I bought a nice Taylor 414. And that was my first good one. And so I had that out there, and they were like, play some songs. And so I was playing some songs, and the gal that worked at the winery was like, hey, do you mind if I listen? Because we were in this little back room and just hanging out. And she said, you mind if I listen? And I said, no, hang out. And she goes, do you play music out? I said, I used to be in bands. And she goes, well, do you have 3 hours of material? And I did. I've been learning songs. And I'm like, yeah. And she was like, well, I'd like to hire you. And I go, for money? You gonna pay me to do this?
No, it's that 2,000 gallons of beer you're trying to negotiate.
I was like, my neighbors in the neighborhood, they don't pay me anything. I just come over and play, and they give me some beers or whatever. And you gonna pay me to do this? So that started it all off, and that was at Duquesne, and then from there it just kind of snowballed. And my buddy Steve, who owns Nota Viva, had me come out and play some there, and then.
Now, how long ago was this?
I want to say it was 2000. I don't know, 7, somewhere between 2007.
So those wineries have been there that long. Nota Viva and Duquesne. Okay.
Yeah, Nota Viva. Yeah, they've been there for a while.
Did I say that wrong?
Nota Viva. Yeah,
Viva. I said Vina.
Again,
Vino.
Yeah.
I think they ought to change their name, but that's me.
Well, it's Note of Life is what it is. Nota Viva is life in Italian, and Nota is music, I think. So it's music is life.
See, what other podcast can you get that kind of information?
You would never find that out anywhere else, unless you talk to Steve Mackey, he'll tell you. But he's a sound guy, music guy. So that's how he got that name.
13 years ago. All right.
Yeah, they've been there a little while. But
Pretty
so
cool.
that's how it all got started.
Mm-hmm.
And then now, it morphed into having a bass player and all that stuff. And
Right, so let's shift over to Todd Brooks and Poor Decisions, and let's talk about that. So, name the guys in the band.
Todd Brooks.
That'd be you.
That's me.
Is he any good?
No. He fakes it good, though.
Fake
One
it
thing
till you
about
make
this
it.
business, and I don't know if you know this or not, but this is something you need to open your ears up and listen to this, because this is the truth, and this may be the smartest thing I ever say to you the rest of my life. You don't have to be good if you're entertaining.
Oh,
Just
we
remember
could.
that.
So, thank you for saying that. And but you know where we really were with this
We were
question?
talking about.
We were talking about your band.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so you went.
Yeah, sorry.
You named this guy Todd Brooks first, and then went off about how great
Yeah.
he is. But
That
how about
always
the other
happens.
guys in the band?
Yeah, we got Mark Cooper. He's friends with my wife, actually.
He doesn't like you at all, but he likes your wife.
Well, it's actually the wives are friends. She taught their kids. So he came out one day and just I found out he plays bass, and I said, "Well, you want to play some bass with me? Come on, man, And so he came out the next show, and he brought his little camcorder, and he set that up, and he recorded the show, and he called me like Wednesday, and he says, "Hey, man, I got your first 2 hours down." And I'm like, "You do?" He's like,
Does Mark play anything else?
I think he plays a little bit of guitar.
Does
His
he?
daughter Sarah plays guitar. I know he's got
I've
a
seen
guitar.
Sarah play. She's really good.
Yeah.
I was, maybe I'd steal him to play some, fiddle or something.
Well,
if
you
he
can
did
steal-
that
you
in our
have-
band.
Oh no, I don't think he plays fiddle. You play fiddle, Mark? I don't know. I don't think you do. I've never seen a fiddle. He plays bass. But
Mark, call me.
yeah. But so he came out. I said, "Well, come on out and play the first 2 hours." So he came out the bro, and he sat down. The poor guy, nervous. He's nervous to death. I thought he was going to fall over.
Had you ever played live for
I
anything?
don't know, Mark.
Yeah.
Have you ever played? I think he played in
You
college.
keep acting like he's on the line.
Are you
or
in
something.
there somewhere? Can you help me out, Mark? I'm getting all the hard questions.
Someday
I think,
we'll go live with this show.
Yeah,
and
we'll
it'll be
have
on.
them
go
on
live.
here,
Yeah,
and
there you
we'll
go.
ask him. But I think he played in college and stuff, and I think he played in the band in college and stuff. But I think he still played, but I think he kind of kids and family and job and stuff. And so I think this may have been, I'm not even really sure, a revival for him. But then, so he played the first 2 hours. It was awesome. And the next week he learned the third hour, and we've been playing together ever since. He's never
Nice.
left. We've never really had, we had a practice about a year, a little over a year in. We had our first practice. So we played for a year and never had a practice. And then
Them are real musicians there.
yeah, we don't care. We just go play. Whatever happens, happens. It's kind of like this podcast, You just,
What happens, happens.
woo, here we go.
What happens on video stays on video.
That's
and
right.
then you have...
Joe Gallagher on drums.
Right.
Joe's a long time. He's a long-time drummer from Sterling bands, Hard Rock Days. He's played in Vast Minority, Plunge, Third Rail. Joe was always kind of like it always seemed like the bands back. Well, first off, let me say this: the bands back in the late '80s, early '90s, all of them were good. There was not a crappy band out there. They were all hitting. They were hard driving. They all had poofier hair than me. They all had
It's hard to
screaming.
believe seeing the pictures.
Oh man, screaming guitar players, man. I'm like, So a lot of these guys were like my idols back then. And Joe was in early on when I first got in sabbatical. We were playing like Joe Walsh and Eagles and like Neil Young and stuff like that. And I went over to Joe's house and they were practicing band practice, and they had this dude named Manuel from Venezuela, and he had like this long dark hair, and he was like he had all the screams, and Joe had this huge Neil Peart kit, and Randy Croson was back there, and he had like a Les Paul with a Marshall, and we're in this little room like in a basement, and we've got like 7 stacks in there and a full drum kit, and I walked in there and it was just like hairspray and Jordache jeans, and it was beer, and the music was
God, I hate
loud,
those days.
and everybody was rocking, and I was like, I want to be like these guys, man. So Joe was kind of, I hope he never sees it, he was kind of like a little bit of a hero to me, I guess,
Uh-oh.
back in the old days. Not really, Joe.
Joe, use that. Use that to your advantage. Information is power.
Joe's. I love Joe.
So, my introduction to Todd Brooks and Poor Decision had all three of the guys were there. You guys were playing again out at 868. And the first thing I noticed walking up on the scene there was that Joe was playing an electronic drum set, which the only other time I've seen, and I'm sure there's plenty of them in the area that people are doing it, but the only other time I'd seen an electronic drum set was, I think at King's Tavern downtown Leesburg. There was somebody playing there. But what I later learned from Todd and talking to him was, it was all planned that way because now he could bring the whole band, the whole three-piece band with the drums and keep the levels down at a winery, which for those of you who go to wineries know, you like the music, but it gets a little crazy if you're trying to do a full three-piece band when you've got a full drum set and all that.
It is.
So was that Joe's idea or your idea?
My idea.
Okay.
Joe's a natural drummer. He wants drums. He's a drum nut. He builds drums, refinishes drums.
Wow.
He's a drum nut. But I don't like carrying drums.
Well, wait, hold on a second.
Joe's
the drummer?
Joe's the drummer.
And he doesn't carry his own drums?
He does.
Okay.
He does, but
I'm kidding, Joe.
But I go out and help him, and I don't
Yeah.
like carrying him. Yeah. Because you pack your stuff up, and everybody's carrying out. Well, he's got the kick drum, the tom in a case, and the cymbals, all that stuff. So
Been there, done that.
yeah, right. So 2 reasons we have that kit. One is Joe has a little cocktail kit. It's a smaller kick drum, it's a smaller tom, smaller snare.
Mm-hmm.
And we had like all the different beaters for the kick drum. So we had like a regular beater, a soft beater, and then the big fluffy, cattail beater.
Dead cat beater, I call it.
Yeah, I was like, sounds like that. But every room we were going into, we had like blankets and pillows that we put in the kick drum. So I would plug everything up. We'd set his drums up. Obviously, if we're not in a big place, we're not micing them. So and he played with brushes. He had 3 different styles of brushes. He had short, medium, and long brushes, and all of them had different velocities and made loud noises.
Yeah.
So we would play a song for about 3 seconds, and I'd go, all right, Joe, take a pillow, put a pillow in, put the fluffy beater on, put a piece of tape on the snare, put a small piece of tape on the floor tom, we'd play again. And I'd be like, all right, put another piece of tape on the snare, and we'd have to just like deaden this kit down to where it was like, like you might as well be playing a cajon at that point. So that was one pain in the neck. The other pain in the neck was carrying it. So the electronic drum kit, what that did for us was I could pick that whole thing up. It's got all the drums on, as you know, you got one. I pick the whole thing up, walk into the venue, set it down, take one cable, pop into the board, have a nice day. We're done.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. There's no mic in it. There's no, it's all so. And the other thing is that's as loud as it gets in the room. So we don't have to worry about any ambient drum noise in the room. We don't have to worry about, blowing somebody out of there. And I think that's the biggest reasons that a lot of these places don't want bands and they want solo stuff because it just gets too loud. It's too much. And I was guilty of that early on. I played way too loud. But this is our niche. We're able to get a full band sound at a winery volume. So the drums, we can turn them off. We can turn everything to whatever level we need to be in. It's been a lifesaver.
So 2 things on that. First, let's listen to a little bit of that. So we'll play some of your music now on the podcast. Okay. But secondly, you just gave away the secret, so you know that all the rest of us are going to be hacking that. We're taking that and we're going to steal business from you. So,
okay.
Yeah. So we'll decide later if you really want all of that to be in the. I'll edit it out.
So I got a lot of guns. We take care of people.
Got a lot of guns. All right, so let's play a little. I got some video stuff. We'll play that of Todd Brooks and Poor Decisions, and while that's going on, we'll get a beer.
So we're back.
Yeah.
That was a good video, right?
It was all right. You guys sound pretty good.
You didn't even watch it, man. What the heck are you talking about? Mark did all that for us.
That's nice.
Did you like that? So being a beer enthusiast, did you like the way he made it go? Made the beer fill up. It's cool though. When you see it, it's cool. Mark does all that. He's got a little thing in.
So does he do that? Does he do that for his day job? You do production and stuff like that?
Yeah. No, we can't talk about what he does for his day job.
Let's not do
that.
that.
We'd have to kill some people. But
we're not interested in anybody dying.
No.
Not anybody dying.
But
so this has been great, man. It's been a great conversation. Yeah. I think a couple things we should wrap up with before we head off. Where are y'all playing soon?
We are playing at www.toddbrooksandpoordecisions.com. And you can go on there and see, or www.toddbrooksmusic.com. TODD, two Ds. We're an affluent West Virginia family. We can afford the second D. But you can go on those websites to see, because Rowdy, I can't keep up with it. Like, I'm booking them, we're changing them, and so I put them on the website, and I look on Wednesday is what I do. So
what am I doing this weekend?
Exactly. I look on Wednesday. Wednesday I go, all right, what's coming up? Do I need to have something ready for Friday? Am I playing Thursday? So I really don't know where we're at. I know we got some gigs at Harper's Ferry coming up. We're also going to be doing a monthly open mic night at Harper's Ferry, which is great for all you guys to come to and play.
It's a crazy time. I've been there for the first one. There's a lot of people there.
And we're going to be, I don't know where we're going to be.
Now, where are you going to be? That's Harper's Ferry Brewing, right?
Yeah, Harper's Ferry Brewing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you going to be at?
Well, we are.
Do you know where you're going to be?
I do know a couple of places I want to point out, because it's getting to be newer for us to do wineries. That's one of the things that in the 4 years that we've been doing Rowdy Ace, we haven't had as much luck getting into the wineries, because there's just such good competition out there. But we are, 2020 is going to be that year where we're going to have more of those. So we're going to be at Barnes at Hamilton Station. We're going to be at Barrel Oak. We're going to be at Fairfax. We're going to be at Paradise Springs. So those are some of the wineries. We're also, breweries-wise, we're going to a new brewery down near Gainesville. The, what is it called? The Farm Brewery at Broad Run.
Oh, okay. Yep.
We're going down there. We're probably 3 shows probably at Old Ox Brewing, which is good friends of ours as well. And then the band is playing in a few places, and again, it's not in the next few months, but we'll be at a new place in Chantilly called the Backyard Grill. Full band will be playing there, and a bunch of other stuff. One of our favorite places as a full band is the country line dancing place out in Alexandria called Nick's Nightclub. So if you want to go have the full country music show and people line dancing and all that, come on out to Nick's in Alexandria. It's a big time out there. Yeah. A little bit of music news. I heard something this week. I don't know if you know these guys, but there's this band. I've been watching them since we've been paying attention to music, called Livin LOUDoun. I think they're down around the Centerville, Gainesville areas where they're based, but they're like this variety band that plays a whole bunch of stuff. Great band. They've been playing together for 12 years. They are hanging it up, and their words, not mine, retiring after 12 years. So for those who listen to Livin LOUDoun, I know they've played at Smokehouse Live up here in Leesburg, and they've played a few festivals and stuff around. I think through the middle of the year is when they're going to be done. So if you're looking to hear that band, make sure you get that done this year, because they're going to
imagine retiring
hanging up.
So where do we go from here? We're going to do another show here before too long. Should we ask some folks to give us some suggestions as to what they may want to hear us talk about, or subjects or something? Or
yeah. So
you want to give your cell phone number?
No, I'll give them yours.
All right, it's fine.
555 Todd
8675309.
Yeah. So first, encourage everybody to like and follow us. Facebook and YouTube. Make sure you do that. And put in the comments. Send us your thoughts. One of them you might come up with is talk some more about the great beer you're drinking, and we'll do that. Don't worry about that. That's a joke. If you have things that you don't like about our show, keep them to yourself. We don't care.
We don't care. We don't want to hear about it. We don't want you to tell your wife, your grandma. Don't even talk about it.
Yeah, we just don't want you to do it publicly. Call up Todd, 867-5309, and let him know what's going on.
Jenny, my secretary, will
That's
pick
right.
up.
Thanks to our unofficial sponsors for this,
Who
which
was it
we
today?
have none. I think it's Rowdy Ace Brand.
It's Rowdy
Brewing.
Ace Brand
There you
IPA.
go.
That's what it is.
We were doing that today.
It was pretty good.
And
Can I stay and drink some more after
you
we do
bet,
this?
buddy.
All
I'd
right.
love for that to happen. And then lastly, Todd's working on a jingle for us, so we'll have some outro music.
Oh, I am. Okay.
We'll work on something like that. So, like us, follow us. Don't talk nasty about us. We'll see you next time. I'm Todd.
I'm Todd.
That's the ToddCast. Thank y'all.
See you.